Hola, hola. Hello, hello.
Let me see. Hold on.
Yay, I can hear you, Emma.
Okay, let me.
We're both here.
Okay, so we're
Oh,
both
There we are.
oh, look at you. That's cool. Hola. How are you guys?
good, good. Hello.
Awesome. I was gonna just to be able to have um so wait a second. Grandparents? How amazing is
Oh,
that? Ah, I'm waiting for that news to come soon, hopefully.
we didn't
We'll
think
be
it was.
grandparents together.
Yeah. Well,
Oh
soon.
my God.
It was pretty amazing because we didn't think.
Ah, oh my
Yeah,
God.
because she told us 5 years.
Yeah.
And that
Well,
was that was 2 years ago. So figured we had about 3 more years, but I guess not.
oh my gosh. Yeah. Perla and Victor, that's pretty much what they said too, 5 years. So
Oh,
hopefully
so you know what that
after
means? They're going to be getting pregnant now any minute.
so yeah, I mean, hopefully the move to New York and them coming back because they want to come back by the end of the year. So
Yeah.
hopefully that'll.
New York City is a interesting place to raise a child.
Oh no, no, no. They never want
Yeah.
to. They're gone there just to. I mean, they're coming back. So
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
was
I
just.
mean, I didn't want to say that, but
Oh
yeah, it's not a place to raise a child.
no, no, no. And they know that too. So well, this
Now,
is.
do you have a brick and mortar out there, or is that your house, or what is that? Where you're
Here?
at right now? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's my house office. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Now, you're in Madera, right?
Right now, yes, I just got in because I've been in Gilroy for the last couple of days. And
Okay.
then
You work from both locations.
yeah, yeah. I was in Gilroy for the last couple of days. I was doing a bunch of appointments there, and now
Mm-hmm.
I come back here and I've
More
got
appointments.
yeah, like Fresno, Madera, and things like that. So
Oh,
that's
I
what.
saw I saw a thing on social media. I guess it was maybe a couple days ago about the proposed bullet train.
Oh,
That they haven't
yeah.
built
Hmm.
yet,
Hmm.
and it shows the path from San Francisco to LA, and it looks like it's supposed to go right through Madera.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. There's a huge project going on right now. So
Yeah.
it's and 2,000 new homes that were approved over by Highway 41 over by Tesoro Viejo, which is
Mm-hmm.
the exclusive community there.
Yeah.
Really nice. I mean, it's definitely
Oh,
gone incredibly.
that sounds like Hollister with all the building they did when they built that Santana Ranch. They're
Ah,
gonna get
yes.
like a
Yeah.
quarter of a million people living there. It'll like double Hollister's population.
Yeah, and they weren't ready. They weren't ready
Yeah, that's
for the
crazy.
for the huge growth on that. So, yeah.
Well, don't hold your breath on the train.
Uh,
Go
you know. Oh, hold on. Let's see. People are waiting. Okay, admit.
ahead and let him in.
Admit.
Do we have another pen?
Um,
Let me go get a pen.
I think we left the other pen. No, here.
Yeah.
No,
Hi,
here.
everybody that's joining in. Welcome. Well, it's 3:59, so I'm hoping we can have a few more participants, just because, I mean, it's so important, the direction that oh, okay. Yep, a lot of people are now.
There we go. See, Jorge is Monterey.
Yes.
Raul's on the board. Ricky J, he's East Bay. But I was told earlier that East Bay wasn't going to do anything this year.
Uh-huh. But regardless of whether they're doing anything
Of
or
course.
yeah, just as we plan for the future and kind of take the step forward from what Antonio and Miguel were already working on in some of this, it's going to be good. Welcome, welcome. We're still getting a few people joining us, so
I don't know who
Let me take roll call to see
Humberto
how many
is.
chapters
yeah,
are
that would be
represented.
nice. And actually, Hema, I mean, do you mind taking notes?
I'll be your secretary.
Thank you, thank you. I appreciate it.
Francis is from,
Francis, can you say where you're from?
she's muted.
Hi, I'm from Coachella Valley.
Thank you.
Yeah. You know what would be nice if on our profile we can rename it, and then rather than me saying Nora, and then I can just say Road to Homeownership Director.
Jorge's Monterey.
Monterey.
Raul's board of director.
I'm not the Nora Monterey County Road to Ownership Director. I'm just on the call because I got an invite.
Okay.
Thank
So
you.
Who is?
Is-
Jorge?
do you have one?
It's going to be Jackson Kessiker.
Jackson,
Okay.
Jessica?
Jessica Jackson.
Jessica
No.
Jackson or Jessica?
No, Jackson Kessiker.
That's what I saw. I thought Jessica.
Okay.
Yeah.
And who's
So if-
Ricky J? That's Ricky J Alvarez.
Yeah, that's
He's East Bay.
East Bay.
That's a note taker. And then who's Umberto?
Humberto.
No idea.
Oh, that's another note taker, huh?
Humberto, let's see.
It's his. How about Maribel?
Maribel, she's from the East Bay.
Marbella. Marbella.
Oh, Marbella.
No, no, she's not. I don't know.
She's
Marbella.
San Benito.
Marbella with San Benito.
San Benito.
San Benito,
Ay,
yeah.
Marbella, sorry. Te estamos cambiando. ¿verdad?
Oh, no, you're fine.
Oreo. There was a Yvonne from the city chapter.
Brenda, she's
Is that
Los
Brenda
Baños, too.
Lopez? That's San Benito, isn't it? Brenda and Alejandra, is Alejandra Foster from Santa Cruz?
No, she would be San Benito.
San
too.
Benito.
She's San Benito, Marbella.
Alejandra, okay.
How about Realtor Brenda? Is that Brenda from?
Brenda Lopez?
Yvonne.
Here we
from-
go. Hi, I'm Marbella to Brenda. Yeah, it's Brenda Lopez. So she's San Benito. So the only one I don't know is Umberto.
Okay, let's make sure we have the right people in the group.
Okay. So we
Wow,
have,
so we have good group.
yeah, so we have Coachella, the city. I mean, Coachella, National City, which is Raul. We have Monterey,
Monterey.
East Bay, San Benito, the city, and Santa Clara. I think we don't have anyone from Sacramento or the Valley.
Or what about the city? We have the city?
Yeah, that's
the city-
Yvonne.
Let's Yvonne.
Okay. Let's see.
Just the Valley and Sacramento.
Right, we got Coachella.
We don't have
We don't have
anyone-
Idaho.
We don't have Idaho. And we don't have anyone from Corona, no, East Bay, the Inland Empire.
Yeah, Inland Empire.
Okay.
Alejandra from Sacramento.
Where? Who?
Sacramento, Alejandra Torres.
Alejandra. Oh, there you go.
Yes,
She's
Sacramento.
Sacramento. Okay.
Oh, okay.
She's Torres.
Torres,
Thank you, Alejandra.
Sacramento.
Yeah, Sacramento.
So you can scratch Sacramento.
Okay.
So we're just missing the Valley, Idaho, and Inland Empire, which is super brand new.
Okay.
We're good.
I think
We're good.
you know,
It's
it
like
is
11 out of 14.
It's 4:04, and I think we can at least kind of get started with going over what this open forum is all about, right? And
Mute.
I am just because everybody needs to be. Are you able to log in as well, Tim? So that if somebody is there waiting to be admitted, it's kind of hard to be focused on this and then having to watch the screen as people are waiting to be admitted.
Emma and I are sharing a computer.
But
'cause
we
we're
we
on the
can look
road.
at that. We can monitor
Yeah, we can monitor it.
the,
Let
Okay.
people in.
so just give me the ability to do it, to let people in.
And I think the way that that happens is that I need to give you okay. Do we have? All right. Well, let's see. Let's do a recording here just so that stop cloud. No, cancel. I guess it's already recording. Okay, so it's already recording. We are going to call our meeting to order at 4:06. Thank you for being here, for your participation. Over the years, the road to homeownership has been evolving, changing. There's a lot of movement that has been happening. And I think today, with this open forum, is to have a little bit of a general understanding where the road to homeownership, how it started very briefly, what's been going on throughout the years, how it came into the Nora Foundation and now back under the umbrella of the Nora National and the reasons thereof. In addition, we want to be able to use this platform so that most of the chapters that have had experience with the road to homeownership, unlike the new ones, can actually have an opportunity to provide feedback in terms of what has worked, what has not worked, but also to bring to the table some of the proposed changes that some chapters have thought about in terms of what could make the road to homeownership better. Let's start from the very beginning. And actually, we have Hema here on the call. It all started back in the days with the market crash and the need for there to be an organization that was aligned and helping our community during the most difficult times of the market crash, with the need of so many families losing their homes. That's the beginning of the road to homeownership, providing financial literacy, understanding, and in fact, during that time, helping families, trying to have families save their homes, either through the modification process or through a short sale. Over the years, obviously, 2014, there were no more foreclosures or short sales, or at least there wasn't the majority of the business in that. Families were now looking for opportunities. Great programs came into play. If you guys recall, right after the recession, I mean, the government was offering even incentives for people to buy homes. And so the platform that has been used through Nora and the program of the Road to Homeownership has been one of the most fundamental components of the organization, because it is the most critical piece, I would say. It is actually the beating heart of Nora, because it is through the unity of all the members, realtors and lenders and affiliates, that together, or that come together to go out into the community to be able to provide these financial literacy programs. And so in 2014, primarily we had but a few active chapters in the organization. And so our main focus was to continue providing the first-time home buyer seminars, and together with some of the other chapters, expanded this program. Santa Clara has always been the incubator for this program, because that's primarily where I came out of, Gemma came out of, Maria Elena, and a lot of the other presidents that worked extremely hard to make this program a huge success. Now, as the market continues to change, we are being faced with other situations, high interest rates. I mean, the financial literacy program, for most of you that have already participated, it's broken down into different segments to allow a step-by-step process of knowledge and understanding for the consumer to know what is available to them, so that in the case that they are already working with a different lender, they at least have the knowledge to be able to ask questions, to know whether that program is good for them or whether they should seek some additional advice. In the same way, the realtor involvement in this financial literacy program is to explain what goes on within the transaction from the moment that you get pre-approved, who you work with. And so it has always been an extremely critical program for Nora. And in fact, when the program was moved 2 years ago to the foundation, it was with the hopes that through the foundation, our sponsor lenders would be able to fund the program through the foundation. So again, just as a reminder, the trade organization, Nora National, is a 501c6. It's a trade organization. Under that, or as a side of or affiliated with the Nora nonprofit 501c3, is another way that lenders like to fund organizations, because they technically can get 100% tax deductible, right? So we thought that by moving, so all this time, the Road to Homeownership was operated through the Nora National umbrella. 2-3 years ago, in fact, 3 years ago, we put it under the umbrella of the foundation to try and get those funds for the Road to Homeownership. Well, a lot of different things were happening, and a lot of imbalances were happening, because the actual work of the Nora Foundation, and because we are not large enough to be able to have all of the necessary resources to actually work under this program, but not that as well. Also, the fact that the lenders were sponsoring primarily the organization because of our most critical component, that is the Road to Homeownership. And they, on our packages, every single chapter, part of your offering for the exchange of, or for the support of, is the Road to Homeownership participation. That last year brought back the idea that the Road to Homeownership needed to be back under the umbrella of the national, because every single chapter, as you're doing your ask for the sponsorships, that they are sponsoring the Road to Homeownership. And so it's part of your deliverable. Now, that's in a nutshell, so much deeper than that. But today we want to focus on our program and how to now move forward with the program to the next level. I'm going to pause for a second. Let's make sure nobody else was trying to be on the
I didn't see anyone. Did you give me the access or no? Because I didn't see.
How do I give Hema the access here, Tim, just to make sure?
Okay, I see the participants, but I don't see
Yeah,
anyone
there's
logging
no
in.
one new.
There's no one new.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, we have 15 participants, still the same.
Okay, just making sure. Any questions up to this, up to this point, right?
I have a question. I'm sorry. I do have to log off at 4:30, so I was a part of the invite and just wasn't sure what this was about. Was this mainly more for our Road to Homeownership chairs, or was this for
Today
everybody?
it was an open forum, Jorge, for everybody. That because the next step is that we want towards the end of the agenda, if you guys look at the email, is to put a task force in place that would lead the Road to Homeownership into a new program. There's just been a lot of different ideas based on the chapter's feedback, and so the idea today on this open forum is to provide information as to the history of it, what's going on, and also those who may want to participate in the task force are going to be invited to be able to put together the new plans for the Road to Homeownership. That is essentially the invite on this open forum. What is next is going to be the task force that will lead this program to the next level.
Did that answer your question, Jorge?
Yes, thank you. I was just trying to understand, because I do
That
have
means-
to log off at 4:30.
Yes.
It means that someone voluntold you.
Yes,
Which
but
would be-
unfortunately, I just want to put it out there. Unfortunately, I will not be a part of this task force. I cannot take on the role as I'm going to be president in 2026. So
yes,
I just want
absolutely.
to.
Yeah,
I-
no,
I-
definitely. And do share the information. I don't know if your chair is on the emails, but German needs to be notified as to who the chair is going to be. That way we can absolutely have.
I think it's Jackson. Jackson is the.
Yes, but
That is
we want to
correct.
make sure that
Yes,
he's
I will.
on the emails. Mhm.
I will
Okay.
make
Right.
sure he's on the emails and make sure he's on the next calls.
That would be awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jorge. Okay. That's awesome. So somebody else is in the waiting room.
There's one, yeah. Sal Cortez. He is Sacramento. Salvador Cortez.
Okay, awesome. And then we have someone else that okay, perfect. Okay, so Salvador, he's in. Perfect. Okay.
And then we have an iPhone 408-607-1574.
Yes.
you-
That's one of the originals.
Oh, who is that?
No, let's go ahead. Who is the iPhone that just joined? 607-1574. Who has that number? 408-607-1574. Does anybody, is that somebody in Santa Clara?
Yes, is my number.
Oh, okay. So that's
Angela.
Angela.
Okay.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Angela.
Thank you. Okay, perfect. Okay. So we've pretty much covered a little bit of that. What are some of the proposed changes, or what are some of the ideas that are coming through? And I'll talk a little bit about, and then I'd like for everybody in their respective chapters, to share the successes, but also what are some of the improvements that you would like to see, or the challenges. And do we have Rosie on? Can you text Rosie? Because she was going to be
Text her.
on the call. She had also been working with a couple of other representatives in the different chapters. The idea is this: what have been some of the challenges? So let's so typically, the road to homeownership, in the way that it is currently structured, is that we have scheduled 3 different road to homeownerships that typically happen on the same day, which is the second Saturday in March, in June, and then October. Now, what's wonderful about it is that we are the only organization ever that has been able to put together such a large number of first-time home buyer seminars. So when you hear about Nora's putting together their road to homeownership in 15 different counties, I mean, that's just amazing. That's the great news about that. But the challenges have been this: many of the locations don't have enough participation from the community. And, we have a whole step-by-step guide, especially for the new chapters, depending on your location, your area. I know for a fact that Santa Clara has always had great participation, San Benito, Monterey, the Valley has had at some points, yes, and then at other times, maybe no. What is good participation? I mean, when you have 40 participants and more, right? Some locations have had as little as 2 participants. Now, if we think about our purpose for doing the road to homeownership is to provide financial literacy to our community, to educate, to empower, to provide knowledge and information. And whether there's 1 participant or 2, well, we are doing the service. However, because there is so much work that needs to be done to prepare, to find the location, to work with the lenders, with the sponsors, primarily, everything kind of revolves around the sponsorship. Who is providing the funds for this program? And so if there are 2 or 3 or 5 participants at the event, these sponsors are somewhat hesitating about putting their money towards the program. And so one of the recommended strategies that have been brought to the table is, what if we, rather than having every single chapter, what if we can merge different chapters that are close enough together that can do a huge event? And now you have more manpower, because you're going to have, let's say, 3 different chapters working on the road to homeownership. And you are now broadcasting it to that larger audience. Then the question is, would people drive that far to go into that particular location? And they would, if there is a great incentive to it, right? We all know that we can drive to wherever we need to if we're going to get what we need. Absolutely.
Lupe, you have a question in the chat. What is driving the participation from those chapters? Salvador Cortez is asking from
So,
Sacramento.
In a little bit, we're going to allow the chapters to actually talk about their particular chapter. And so I'm kind of just doing the big overall big picture, and we'll start narrowing in on precisely that, Salvador. So if we're just going to hold off a little bit because we're actually going to hear from everybody as to what's driving their participation, because this is the part that's really critical for every single chapter, especially because also the Road to Homeownership is your primary funding source, to be honest with you, right? When you are sending your sponsorship packet to your sponsor lenders, they typically want to see, when they see the Road to Homeownership, that already gives them the idea that they're going to be able to be in front of the consumer, to be able to potentially drive some business. Now, is the true intention of the Road to Homeownership to drive business? The reality is no. But now that we've been working on the Road to Homeownership since 2010, we do realize and understand that at the end of the day, especially now when resources are being cut, limited, programs are being eliminated from some of these major corporations, banks, institutions, let alone federal funding, we all understand that we are going through some changes in the economy and in the market. And we need to be one step ahead to be able to position ourselves and to continue to deliver to the lenders the programs that, especially the Road to Homeownership, that is still us being in front of the consumer. So what is being proposed? Again, that we collaborate with multiple cities, multiple chapters, and provide a big Road to Homeownership event at a big venue to make and drive the awareness and motivate people to come, because it's going to be bigger and better. It was also brought to my attention that organizations have followed on our footsteps, but have been doing it in this kind of way where they only do an annual housing trust, activity or housing program activity. I believe now ARIA, right? Tim and Hema, they're the ones that also do a big event. Now, our Road to Homeownership program is primarily financial literacy. We talk about the step-by-step program on the different loan programs and how to buy a home. If we are going to grow this into a big, large event at a larger gathering place, now could we potentially have an investor workshop? So now we're not only attracting that first-time home buyer to come, we are now going to say, investors, come and hear about the opportunities, that we are here to provide. See, somebody's. I'm sorry, there's little messages coming in on the screen, and I think it's just, and my glasses are not on. Investor workshop, where we are now talking with sellers, how about are you thinking about selling, but you have an investment property? How about a workshop for understanding a 1031 exchange, which a lot of our Spanish speaking families are still having a hard time. I mean, just 2 months ago, I was referred to a family. A very brand new agent was trying to sell an investment property, not even understanding the consequences of not mentioning to the seller about the 1031 exchange. And thankfully, that was caught ahead of time so that they would not make the mistake of selling a property that was an investment property and then be hit with a capital gain tax. So if we do something like a bigger and better combined with or in collaboration with other chapters, We could add various different components because now we have manpower, we have a larger space, and now our program can be directed to not just the first-time home buyer, but to the sellers and those sellers that are either going to buy an investment, that 1031 exchange. This could potentially bring, again, these are just the ideas, because everything is work. However, if we do this right, this could be something that can and will give an opportunity for everybody involved to be able to also get some possible business out of it, right? Again, that is not the intention, because our intention is to inform, guide, and communicate, the program and the opportunities. By default, because when you do a good job and you do it with a heart, by default, people are going to want to work with you. And that's a good thing, because at least we want them to be in a space and with individuals that actually will care for the well-being and for doing the right thing for their clients. Okay, so that's the proposal that would be happening, that it would not be 3 times a year, maybe 2, and that we would collaborate in that way. And if we can hear now from the different chapters, and somebody will help me take the notes, I'll call on I'll just kind of go here in order of who I see. Alejandra Torres, who's the first one that I see here, and share with us some of the pros, some of the cons, and then bring to your team the information so that you can come back next week with some feedback for us to move forward with a task force to be able to help implement, the new strategies and the new program. Okay, we're open.
Maybe Salvador Cortez, since you asked the first question, what have you seen? What has been, issues?
He asked the question, what was driving participation in the beginning? And that was radio.
No, what is driving the participation from those chapters currently now?
Yeah.
So yes, radio and the TV. Both Santa Clara, I know at least Santa Clara and Monterey and San Benito were able to get themselves into the community programs, either through Telemundo or the other
Univision.
Univision, yes. So all of these TV stations have a community program. And I know at one point or another, Miguel Santamaria had shared some of his contact information, and we probably want to compile who these resources are, so that we could have it in our website where we have all of our resource links, because that would be great.
I think maybe perhaps what he's asking is like, what are the certain chapters
let me ask specifically, because as far as the years I've been a part of our Sacramento chapter, I have yet to see a lot of people show up, but we also in Sacramento don't have the support from the radio or from the TV. We have a big market, and it should be easier for us than some of the smaller chapters to get participation, but for some reason we don't. So who do we need to talk to so that we can maybe get those contacts? Is it Jose Santa Maria? Miguel,
So, Angela, I know for Santa Clara, you were able to bring, or one of you guys in your team was able to bring Univision, correct? Or was it Telemundo?
Both of them.
Okay. So
Can we also have the meeting recorded on Zoom? Because or else you guys aren't gonna be able to have it. Looks like the otter stopped recording.
I see it on my thing that it's recording.
I keep getting you've reached the recording limit for your plan.
Yeah, but
Okay.
that's Otter. That's Otter. She's recording it by Zoom.
Ah,
Uh,
okay.
Yes, yes.
Oh, I think Sacramento needs a contact at Univision or Telemundo. Correct me if I'm wrong,
Yes,
Salvador.
please.
So I guess right now, Sacramento's been basically relying on word of mouth.
Yeah, which is not going that great.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, so we need to get you some media.
Salvador, are you the chair of
Nope.
the Road to Homeownership?
Nope, she's not on.
Who is the chair?
So,
It doesn't. We'll
Okay.
get them the info.
Okay, got it. I was going to suggest if I could have a follow-up, call with you guys, and I want to make sure that we utilize all of the different resources, and I want to make sure that you guys have the resources also that we have shared in the during the meetings. So maybe we can
Okay, hey guys, it's Labora here. I'm sorry to step in. So let's discuss everything in the open forum so we can all get the same information, Lupe. Angela is a big supporter of this, and if it wasn't for Angela, Santa Clara County wouldn't be where it is today. I would, if you don't mind, Lupe, if Angela can just say a little bit about how she's been able to do it, I think that would be a great benefit for everybody that's on the call.
absolutely. Yes, please go ahead, Angela.
okay, so basically I have a contact on Univision and Telemundo, but I think going to be a little bit different because those person works at Santa Clara area, and they got, the community event that they do it is only for Santa Clara. So, but I'm going to ask for a contact on Sacramento because Sacramento is different contact person for them to pass those events. And so, but I'm going to try to do my best and ask them if they can give to me the information on Sacramento, Monterrey, on different areas.
But I think
And
what Salvador is also asking is how did you connect with the people at Univision?
So
and Telemundo?
like, my friend works there. So that's why I got that info. So that's why my best friend connect me with them. And from, that's why, I always, when that time comes, I call my friend and then basically he connect me with everyone, and then we do it that way.
And then just to piggyback on that, we also I know that Lupe and Hema did the radio station prior to us, so pre-COVID. So whatever resources you currently have, I've reached out to NBC and ABC as well through email. I know it's all about connections and just trying to reach out. They may not reply, but you can try. I know that Miguel Santamaria said they're all individually owned, so it's just about trying to get in there. We, this time around, what we did is that we did a vote and approved a budget to spend on Facebook marketing. And that got us, we actually got some Facebook people show up to the meeting, maybe one or two. I can't remember exactly how many.
Was
But,
one.
but that to me was like a great success. And I think we'll do it again next time around because it was kind of like a last minute thought, like, oh, we should do it. And so I highly recommend it. But yeah, just reaching out to them.
We always allocated, when I ran the program, that is true. Back in the 2013 and 2014, Hema and I had a big radio program. So between her announcements and my announcements, plus we would allocate about $1,000 for a radio announcements. And like everybody said, it's all about connections and contacts. So somewhere in Sacramento, there may be, if you go to the Spanish stations, who are the Spanish speaking agents that are on the radio, and being able to connect with them and asking them if you could use their platform to be able to make that announcement, or perhaps get the contact info of who their person of the radio is, so that they could give you for $1,000. I know that if you're a realtor and you want to use $1,000 for announcements or announcements, if you're a nonprofit, they're going to give you like a whole lot more announcements for those $1,000. And yes, it is always really important, which is also the reason having the Road to Homeownership, going back to having every chapter manage their program, is precisely because you can now allocate some of your chapter money to go towards radio ads as well. Facebook ads are wonderful as well.
One of the things that I want to emphasize, that when you're reaching anyone, Univision, Telemundo, a radio program, that if you approach them under the umbrella of NORA as a nonprofit organization, and that's an educational program, you have much better success in them listening to you than the realtor Hema Smith or the lender whatever, because they automatically think that we're just there for profit. Our first and foremost is to be under the umbrella of NORA and just really sell the educational component, and what our mission and vision is, and that will capture them to want to continue to also educate the Latino community.
Yeah, good point.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Never under the personal umbrella.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yes, thank you. Now, what are some of the challenges, or does anybody of the other chapters want to share some of their successes, challenges, and also what do you think about the proposed idea of having the only either one or two big Road to Homeownership events to be able to do it in the at a larger scale? And I think Rosie already joined us, and we were just talking a lot about, what were some of these ideas, Rosie. And we also shared the proposed idea of, can you share with us, because Rosie, I know that you have been at a lot of these big, larger one-time events. And can you share with the group so they can also kind of get an idea directly from you, since you've been there in these locations, and how that may change, the direction of our own Road to Homeownership? Rosie? Hopefully she. Okay, hopefully Rosie will come back to us shortly and share that with us. In the meantime, can we hear from someone, from someone else?
Hi, this is Yvonne from the city chapter. How are you?
Good, Yvonne. Thank you.
I feel like, we've had issues maybe drawing people. Affordability in the city of San Francisco is a little bit tough. So been talking to Nancy and David about bringing in people from maybe out of the area to try to talk about homeownership opportunities, maybe not in the city, if not in San Francisco proper, but bringing in and talking about some low to moderate income developments around the city. And then also trying to partner with the Mayor's Office of Housing to talk about below market rate opportunities that San Francisco does have. So the thought of joining with other chapters would be amazing, because, we are a smaller chapter. San Francisco is not a huge city. So I feel like attendance has been difficult. So we would definitely be on board with partnering with, East Bay or whatever chapters, right, to try to drive attendance for sure, and collaborate and, spread out the work.
Okay, definitely.
I have a question for Yvonne.
Yeah.
Yvonne, in your past Road to Homeownership events for the city, have they been word of mouth as well?
Yes, yeah, no real advertising.
Okay. So
Mhm.
I think,
So we would,
I think the common theme is that advertising on road to home ownership is basically at pretty much zero, with the
yes,
exception maybe Monterey and Santa
Santa
Clara.
Clara.
So
Mhm.
we need to get people on the radio end and on the television end, Telemundo Univision, in other locations throughout Northern California, a contact so that the people from those chapters can go to them, not physically, but connect with them and propose the idea of the Road to Homeownership program and getting time on television and or radio or both.
Yep. That is the key. So, I mean, I think it's very loud and clear now based on who uses the resources for radio and other type of ads versus those chapters that are not. So we're definitely going to have to get on a plan to be able to see which radio stations can broadcast as far as what, to maybe be able to collaborate different chapters. Hey, if you put in X dollar amount and we can all bundle our money together, we're actually going to have a broader audience, and that could work. I think Rosie's back on the call, and I had called on Rosie to help as we are proposing for the Road to Home Ownership to be either a big one time a year or 2 times a year. Rosie has had the experience of being at some of these events. And so if you can share with us your experience at these large events, Rosie.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Okay,
you.
good. I'm like, I'm doing this on my phone. I'm trying to get to my laptop, and it's like, technology. Where's my technology person? So yeah, as you know, I voiced my concern with working with several chapters on some of the frustrations with, where we don't get, a lot of people showing up, or we get 2 people, 5 people, some get 20, 25. And it's a lot of work. We all know these are a lot of work to put on. So, one of the ideas that, I've seen out there is if you do, maybe twice a year or once a year, a larger housing expo or home buyer expo, if you want to call it, to make it more impactful. I just don't know if Nora's ready to do that, because I know that, you want to do your quarterlies, which is what, 4 a year? And
3.
okay, 3 a year. But when I look at it and you look at every chapter, and it does sound great when you say, okay, we had 11 or 12 or 14 chapters doing it all on the same day. And that sounds good. But when you actually QC everything and you see that, these 5 chapters had less than 5 people, these 4 had, 10 people, these 2 had 25, 30 people. What's the real value there, and how can we make it better? And so the thoughts of maybe limiting it from 3 to 2, maybe, or one big one, is something that, a couple of chapters we talked about, but I'm not sure how Nora wants to proceed with that. I know that you guys, want to do the 4 and put all the money towards it, or 3. Sorry, my dog's playing with your speaking toy. But I don't know if you guys have any thoughts about maybe limiting it to 2. Maybe you do it twice a year at least and try that, see if it's a better impactful. Because again, it's the time that it takes to pull this together and the commitment. It's all volunteer work, as we all know, but there's a lot of work that goes into doing these, and it's a struggle for several of the chapters. I'll call it out. It's a struggle for a lot of the chapters that feel like they're being pushed to do this and struggling with it. So, speaking for several of the chapters that have voiced this, I just think we need to rethink on this year, 2025, since we already committed to the 3 and we already have our sponsorships out there. Who's going to track and do QC to see how successful they were? And at the same time, while we're doing that, we probably should be thinking about 2026 and trying something different.
Marbella has had her hand up for a while.
Marbella, go ahead.
Hi. So I want to just give like my, I guess, 2 cents on, like, I haven't been a part of the Road to Homeownership process itself. Like, I've been a part of them, obviously, but I haven't had to put them together, I guess, if you want to say it like that. But I will say my one of the things that I did have a conversation with all the girls in my board was, and it's, I think it's not coincidental that you were talking about doing a big one type of thing instead of all three. I did mention to them that I thought it would be a great idea if Nora just did a huge event once a year. And my thought was, you know, I'm thinking it's a Hispanic thing, so you go right away to like the carne asada type of thing, right? So um, I just threw out a bunch of ideas as far as that goes, but I never really thought that that was actually a thing that was being talked about in the background. And the reason why I thought about it, and it's not just me, but it's the girls on my board as well. Um, our chapter is very small and it's new. You know, it's only been, I want to say this is our third year. And we are, I want to say we're pretty good with social media. Like we know what we have to do, what we can do, X, Y, and Z. We also have contacts with different people that we could reach out to help us. However, we try to do as much as we can. As far as farmers markets go, we go out and distribute marketing pieces in person. We invite people. We set ourselves up at the farmers market to try to get people. Like last year, we paid to sit at the farmers market to get people to come to our booth and invite them and all that bunch of stuff. But there's one thing that we have no control over, and that is that there's other realtors that do similar types of workshops. And the last Rotom ownership that we had, there was actually another agent and another lender who were doing exactly the same thing that we were on that same day. And we found out about this afterwards, but they had also hosted a similar one the weekend before. So what I'm trying to say is we are not, providing something completely exclusive at this point. It's something that a lot of agents, a lot of other people are doing, just like you guys mentioned. So it's kind of like at this point, everything in life has to evolve eventually. So there's nothing wrong with going from, just, I don't know, modifying, I guess, the structure of what is, the Rotom ownership and maybe trying something new. Because I think it would alleviate a lot of the weight from a lot of the chapters that are smaller who maybe don't have the resources that other chapters do have with sponsorships, bigger cities, bigger, just everything. And if we did do something where it's like a big event, then I think it would be something new, something, I don't know, a little bit outside of the box, like Nora hasn't done this, this is cool. And then maybe the turnout would be overall a little bit better, because I think that all the chapters would probably be excited to participate in that, and they would all, not be burnt out like they also mentioned, because it's a little bit of a burnout to get it together and then show up, and then you have like 2 people, 3 people show up, and then you find out that other agents are doing the same thing. So that's just kind of like what I want to say about that as far as our
That's
end goes.
precisely why this open forum is happening, because it is time for the road to homeownership to take on the next steps as the market changes. There's always been independent realtors and lenders that partner up one-on-one. I mean, Hema and I, we used to do this before we actually teamed up with Nora, but when we do it as a collaborative effort for the community, that's the distinction. That nobody is there to sell anything, that we're there to provide information. And that's the big, announcement that needs to be made, because everybody else is providing their first-time home buyer seminar. Nobody should be using the name Road to Homeownership. Rico helped us patent that name, and it does belong to Nora. So should you guys hear or see anyone using our material or resources, then it needs to be reported. And thank you for sharing that. Liborio, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
Okay, there we go. Hey guys, I agree with Rosie on making it less, maybe instead of like the 3, making it 1 or 2 times a year, just because it also prevents us from doing other events throughout the year. You know, I think last year we did like 12 events and we were burned out. And you know, we need to also create membership mixers and stuff like that. And so maybe I would agree with Rosie of making one, maybe either making one big one or making several medium-sized ones, right? Like the Bay Area can connect, or I don't know, something similar like that.
I'm thinking like April and October, because early in the year, like March, it's look, even just earlier this month, people were still getting installed, and new chapters, new leaders are getting prepared for the year, and there isn't enough time. And so more towards the end of April, having that big first event combined with various different chapters to alleviate all of the additional burden and stress. I think having a larger group collaborating, and then in October gives enough time to really put together two big events. And then again, we'll continue to reevaluate. If that didn't work and we needed to go into one huge event, well, then that's what we're going to move forward with, right? But at least, yes, go ahead.
I would recommend either middle or end of March, just because that gives you the opportunity to talk to people about their taxes, not about them, but like preparing for their taxes that are due in April. And then, of course, I think October is definitely a good time. It all depends on the holiday, right? We had to change it this year due to the holiday, but that would be my only recommendation to avoid tax season chaos and also to kind of prep them. Um, I know we don't give tax advice or anything like that, but we give it general advice. So
Hopefully they still have their money from taxes, or in October, prep them for when they do their taxes in January, be ready. But yes, and so now we are inviting a group to help form a task force to be involved in what that's going to look like for 2026. And I'd like to have some volunteers. All of you here in this call today, you're already showing that you are committed to the road to homeownership, that it is something that you're passionate and interested in, and you voicing your opinion and wanting to put this together for 2026 is going to be so critical. So this is a great opportunity for you to be the pioneer of this new chapter development into what the new road to homeownership will look like in 2026. So if I could have, all the hands up, because Hema's gonna jot your names down, I would be absolutely thrilled to have, this group that, because you've already heard the information. And that's really important, that you heard the history, the why. Yes, Yvonne. Okay, Yvonne, is that a yes? I'm in?
Yeah, that's a yes, I'm in.
Okay. Now, out of, how many more hands are going up? I mean, Rosie, you're in.
Rosie, is her hand up?
No,
yeah,
it's not.
yeah, I'm up. I'm
But
up.
I'm like, Rosie, you're in.
Whatever Lupe wants, I'm in.
I really like the idea of a road to homeownership day in 2026.
Or we can call it Road to
yeah.
Homeownership Day in 2026, two of them. Who is the third one, Laborio? I heard another.
Do we know out of all our current chapters, let me ask you this question. Do we know out of our current chapters if we have the sponsorship at the level that we are required to have 3 this year?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or are all the chapters is 2 okay and not a third one have to be done? I mean, have we looked at that?
Yes, the sponsorship did go out from what my understanding is, and Hema just confirmed. And already the March, there was several chapters that were barely getting started, and they did not have a road to homeownership.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, when we did the annual sponsorship, did any of the chapters receive enough funds to require us to have the 3 road to homeownerships? for 2025, or can we go to two down
We'd
this
have
year?
to get feedback from the chapters.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I say. We got to QC that, because if we can hit every chapter, have them all report back how many of them are required to have 3 based on the sponsorship levels that they received, and if they did receive a larger amount, are they able to maybe coordinate changing it if it's only one sponsor that paid the higher amount for 3, give them something
Well-
else in return, so we can change it to 2 this year?
Well, no, I mean, the chapters that aren't having enough money, Rosie, there's no advertising.
Yeah,
You
but
know?
Yeah, but that's not
not
my
her
question. My
question. That's not
question
her question.
is, do we have to have 3 this year?
Yeah. She
Well,
wants,
to fulfill your,
no, what she's asking is that which chapters have received funds that require them to have 3 road to home ownership.
Correct.
To see that, to
I
figure out. We
don't
don't,
have the
we don't
answer.
know. That would be the treasurer's department.
Well, couldn't we just send an email out and ask every chapter to report back?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, and then that way we can gather it up in a document, and we know that here's the 12 or 14 chapters we have, and only 5 of them received enough for 2. No one has received for 3, so let's change it to 2 this year.
So if
Yep,
I'm
and-
if I may, Rosie, like we did receive enough funding for, because we took
Right.
the as it was, and then the sponsorship packet as it was. So we ended up, yes, lucky or
Yeah.
not, to get 3, but we're changing it because we only
Right.
have one sponsor. So we're not
Exactly.
doing a Road to Homeownership seminar, quote unquote. We're doing a financial literacy. And it's fine because the dates have all been mixed up anyway, so it wouldn't
Yeah.
with
But
everybody else.
that's exactly why I'm asking, because if you're the only chapter that actually received the larger amount, and you've already coordinated an effort to support that dollar amount with something else, then why do we have to have 3 this year if all the other chapters only have funds for 2?
And we can just focus on the big October.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. I think like the San Benito, as far as San Benito goes, we are, obviously, Rosie said something earlier. It's like we feel the responsibility, I'm not sure what's the proper word to use, to host or have all 3 of the Road to Homeownerships because of the requirement, right? It's part of NORA. But I think like for us, we are trying to see if there is a way to do something else, educate the community in a different way, I guess, kind of, sort of. So I know as far as we go, we weren't, we don't have the sponsorships to where we have to
Right.
do all 3. So
Yeah, and I think am I the only one that came in at the 3 for you anyway, San Benito?
you guys are the only ones.
Yeah. So we can talk
Yeah.
offline and do something different. I'm okay with
Yeah.
changing that up. Not a big
Yeah.
deal. Yeah, absolutely.
So, you know what I
Now-
mean? For us, we can modify,
Yeah.
and it would benefit us, like I said, we could help in a different way.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly.
The
How many
chapter,
chapters? Yeah.
the chapters also need to understand that the NORA national expectation is going to change, where we're all participating on the same day. Now, every chapter has the opportunity to continue doing more of their first-time homebuyer seminars. Just remember, you can
Right.
call it Road to Homeownership. Road to Homeownership is when we're all in sync and doing it together. But you as an individual chapter can still do 3, 4, 5, however many you have. If you have that, lender sponsor that wants to do more than just that, you do it together with your own chapter. And again, just call it first time home buyer seminar,
Or
first
financial, financial
workshop,
education,
financial
whatever.
literacy program.
Yeah.
Just don't call it Road to Homeownership, and don't use the material that is used
Correct.
for the Road to Homeownership. That's all. Okay.
Yeah. But getting back to my point is, I don't think we're going to have very many that are going to have more than the Road to Homeownerships, because we can't even meet that criteria.
Yep.
So,
No.
so my
And-
initial
and that was
ask
to
is-
reply on Salvador Cortez,
Yeah.
like we can still do more. Yes, you can still,
Absolutely.
but we're trying to sync together with everybody at the national level so that we're all on the same page as a national organization doing this grand event. Okay.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. Well, what I'm going to do together with German and, hopefully Hema can help me as well, or Tim, is to be able to get to all the chapters and be able to find out, okay, what are their commitments and what are their deliverables for their sponsors, to see whether we can just focus on a big event, and then our task force committee would be able to help put together what that's going to look like.
Exactly. And that's where, to your point earlier, Lupe, in the conversation where you talked about how do we work together to utilize, like Angela was saying with the Univision and local whatever, is that'll give us enough time to really build those relationships and outreach to really promote potentially a single huge event.
Okay. Yes, sounds good. I didn't have enough hands participate. I mean, I know I had
I think we're scared. I'm just kidding.
Don't be scared, Marbella.
the only
Do it.
way
Just
for
do it.
things to work in the way that we want to is that we are participating in this program. I mean, because what is the participation for? Oh, yeah, you where were you, Monica?
Monica's on the list. Put her down.
Yeah, put her down.
Now,
You signed up
just
first.
for that, Monica, you're in.
She volunteered.
Volunteer. She was voluntold.
Okay.
Yeah. Lupe, maybe when you guys reach out to each chapter to say, what your commitments have been, so that we know if we can switch to one. Also say, and by the way, could you also ask your board if you have a representative that would be interested in the revamp of our Road to Homeownership committee, to participate. And then maybe you get some more hits that way as well.
The task force.
I think it's going to have to be more of a direct mouth, because 105 people were invited. We wanted to make this open forum as open as possible, giving everybody an opportunity to be able to provide their feedback, to be able to engage and to be a part of. And so 17 people at one point were on the call. A few of them already have left. And so, yes, we definitely need to be able to have a good amount of people on this task force so that it's successful. And it's not just my ideas, your ideas, but it's a collaboration of different ideas that we're going to put together to bring the Road to Homeownership to the next level so that it's as successful as can be.
Okay, and this is being recorded, right?
Yes.
So everything you just said is exactly what I think needs to go to on an email, because I think, honestly, I can tell you that I heard from a few people when they got notice about the call and stuff. It's kind of like, oh, here we go. They don't think anything's going to change, right? Because we were adamant that National's pushing this down. National says we have to do this. But what you just said right there clarifies everything about this. Is their chance to find someone within their local chapter who wants to be part of taking this to the next level, right?
Yep.
And so what you just said is beautiful, and it can be beautifully said in an email when you outreach to say, we heard you and we want to come together. Please, if you want to join our task force to help give your insight and your feedback, we'd love you to participate so that we can create the next version of the Road to Homeownership.
Okay. Got it. That's, do I have everybody, everybody's.
Well, Marbella has her hand up. I guess she's volunteering too.
All right.
Yeah.
We
So
took her out of that fear stage.
I'll
I
raise my
want to
hand.
do this.
I'll go talk to the rest of the board and see if anyone else wants to do it. If they don't, then I'll, I guess, step in. But I'll bring it up to everybody, and if someone else, wants to do it, then I'll give them the information, and then you guys can reach out to them.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
I'll do the same for the city chapter. I know Fancy's our Road to Homeownership chair, and so we're already kind of collaborating on things to do differently. So she'll probably want to be involved in this also.
Let them know that this recording is going to go as soon as the meeting is over, because we really want to be able to get this all squared away as soon as possible, because then our next job is to really put together an amazing plan for that big event.
Cool.
Okay. I think we're missing participants.
I have to run because I have to go to a meeting, but
Okay.
it's Yvonne. I'm hanging up
Salvador,
now.
can we have your participation in this task force?
What does that constitute?
Well, it is bringing in the feedback from your Road to Homeownership team and chair, for that matter as well. And it doesn't have to be the chair that participates. I mean, this is a task force. This is a specific team that's going to put together what that next plan is going to be by bringing in the feedback from your.
Yeah, that'd be fine. I also challenge, like, right now, I think you should have already gotten an email from me to do a more Sacramento specific game plan.
Okay.
That way, other people don't hear what, because it seems like you're the ears to this program. And if you could help us specifically go here, talk to this person here, here's the phone number to this person. That's the kind of stuff that's going to get us into action.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and yes, thank you. So we'll get you signed up, and then did we have Liborio or Angela? One from every chapter would be nice to have in the task force.
I'll ask people in my chapter, see if anybody wants to participate. I won't be able to participate in this one.
If nobody wants to participate, so then I will do it. But Liborio going to ask first to everybody. If they don't want to do it, so I will do it.
I think because you're already on the call, to be honest with you, I already, again, I prefer the people that are on the call here because we've already had a conversation of the why we need this. Now you come back to your team and gather information, gather what their thoughts are. Now you can bring that to our task force meeting so that we can make decisions based on what your team, thinks we should do.
Are you guys open to having committee members that are not board members?
Absolutely. The task force, so long as they're
Yes.
your chapter members, they
They'd
don't
have to be a NORA member.
they need to just be a NORA member, but they don't need to be in the board or be a chair of anything or a part of a committee. This is just a task force for the purposes of getting us to that next level. And that person that represents your chapter for this task force is going to come to your chapter and gather information and provide data and bring it to the task force so that we can have everybody's input and feedback, and so that we can try to come to a happy medium, right? It's not going to work in, everything that you may want, right? But we're going to try to mush it all together and make it a good program for all. That's the purpose of it, right? Francis, can we get your commitment?
Francis from Coachella. We need a representative.
From
yeah,
Southern
sorry, I
California.
was trying to unmute, but yes, I will participate.
Okay.
Thank you.
That is awesome. So
Are
you
we
as
going to
the
see
individual,
Francis next month?
yeah, you as the current representatives of this new task force, I'm going to be sending out an email together with I have a little bit of should I send this recording to the entire 105 people that were invited just so that they could hear what the whole conversation and was all about? And then send you the specific details, what you need to gather from your particular team and bring it to the next week's task force meeting.
I know, I wouldn't agree. I think maybe we can put this recording on the YouTube, our
Okay. And then have
site,
people,
and have people, if you want to know more about what happened with the Road to Homeownership Task Force meeting, they can just listen to it.
I like that. Okay, then.
Yeah, YouTube.
Okay, well, definitely. Can we have German uploaded?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we can just send a link with that. I like that. Okay, well, thank you. Thank you so much. We have a good team for sure. especially again, you that are here today, that really shows your interest, your engagement, and we want to make this a great next level road to homeownership for all. So thank you.
Thank you, Lupe.
Thank
Appreciate you.
Of course. Thank